Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome back to the Celtic Unrestricted View. It's myself, JP, and as you can see, folks, it's no wee Maloney, it's Wednesday night. We've got Big Paddy McCourt back in action. How are we, mate? It's good to see you.
I thought it'd be Paul McStay with this tap or something. I thought you'd come up with something a bit more creative than that, but I know very well.
You can't go for that, Paddy McCourt to Paul McStay, mate. I'm not having that. Sorry.
Jackie Jakinovsky, Tony Cascarino, something like that. I think that's a bit earlier this tap, but no, I'm very well, man.
If you hadn't brushed your hair, it'd have been George Cadet. I don't know about anything else.
Aye, permanent, aye. I think the perms are back in the now with the youngsters. That's when you know you're old. I'm saying youngsters. No, back to the point. I'm very well. Looking forward to the weekend. It's been a long kind of 2.5 weeks, 2 weeks, I think it's been since we've seen our beloved team play. So I'm looking forward to Sunday and looking forward to getting into it tonight and speaking about Sunday. So I hope you're very well, my man, as well.
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Aye, I'm good. I'm just not enjoying this kind of cold weather, and I'm still trying to recover for this wee chest infection I've had. But all in all, mate, it's been okay. It's been pretty good, but it has been very cold, and it's a bit of a pain in the backside having to go out in the mornings and scrape the car and consistently having to do that every morning. You're having to go out. I'm having to get up earlier now because obviously I've got the kids and my wee boys at school, my daughter's at nursery, so I've got to get up a bit earlier to do it. And it's just, and when you step foot outside, man, it's absolutely frozen. So as I said, it's apart from that, all good, and I'm looking forward to obviously Sunday, as you mentioned, mate, because like you say, Celtic are back, mate. It's been a long while, and I think time always drags in, mate, when you've not got your fix, when you've not got your football to look at, to watch. I know there's been other football on and stuff like that, but it's not the same, mate, when when Celtic are on. So it's always good to get that wee fix, mate, and it's good to see that everybody's looking forward to Sunday and looking forward to what Sunday's going to bring, albeit I've seen comments of and about it being a damp squib and it's not going to be this, it's not going to be that, but the Celtic, mate, we're back, and like I say, there'll be a lot of genuine interest in it because we're back at Paradise.
It's not necessarily just Sunday. Obviously, we're looking forward to the game on Sunday, but this is the business end of the season. This is the second part of the season where the important trophies are won. So, we're looking forward to see. Obviously, we're looking for one or two players to be brought in, strengthen the squad, and hopefully we can go on a run and kick on and win this league like we deserve. So it's not necessarily Sunday. It's more that this is the point. We've got a couple of international breaks for friendlies, I think, but after this point, it's let's go. This is your full throttle, and this is the kind of important business part of the year that we kick on and start winning trophies.
Yes, you're spot on, mate. Me and Ryan have spoke a good line for this as well, and I've always said, mate, when you get to this end of the season, the cream, as they say, always rises, mate. This is when Celtic stand up and are counted. And this is when you tend to see, this is it. And we've been accustomed to that in years previous, mate. So
yeah.
I do think, with the way the team was going the last few games there before the break, this wee bit of break will hopefully re-energise them and give them that impetus to go again, because I know they've brought in the boy Kun, and I hope I've got that pronunciation correctly there. It does sound like something else, definitely. The see you next Tuesday word, and this Plunge saying hello to you is one of your many other names, mate.
I get too much. I know Shane Duffy was the one I got. See, during the COVID season, every pub I was going into, you got Shane Duffy, and I was like, oh my God. So, Plunge, fair play. You've got that one right. That was one of the more noticeable ones, I think, that I went with Shane Duffy for some reason. I don't see it, but seemingly a lot of people that I meet and encounter see that I look like Shane Duffy.
No, your people are spot on, mate. You've got a slight resemblance there. And that, by the way, and I mean that the nicest way possible. I suppose, listen, there's worse people in the world that you could probably look alike.
Look, Grado.
I mean, well, there you go, right? There you go.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that because of the conversation. I don't think
no,
you
definitely. For everybody wondering what Alan's talking about there, I've been told from a few people that I resemble Big Grado,
but I don't think so.
But Alan doesn't think so. But that's fine. Listen, that's fine. You've got to take that, Alan. You've got to be able to. I'm from the East End of Glasgow, so I'm more thick-skinned enough to kind of laugh things like that off. And listen, mate, I've always said, if you can't have a laugh at yourself, then you can't. You've not really got much going for you, I don't think, personally. If you can't take yourself. Don't take yourself too seriously. I think that's the main thing. And
I think you know me well enough.
I've been called, oh, definitely. But I've been called a hell of a lot worse. That's for sure. El Papa Grado is. I don't know if you are. I know you're not from here, but I don't know if you're aware of Two Doors Down.
He's a wrestler.
He is an actual wrestler. I know people are going to think that's mad, right? We went for Celtic now to talk about wrestling, but he is an actual wrestler. That is his actual job. He gets paid for it as well. But he does. I think it's Go Radio, Alan.
Aye.
He's on Go Radio in the mornings with another guy. I can't remember the guy's name now.
He's got his own podcast with Toe and Bobby at River City. He was in River City as well.
Yeah.
He acted in River City as well.
That was his first briefly, but he was in that briefly, that's right. And like I say, folks, it's one of those things. You could be called a hell of a lot worse.
I'd
to be fair with you, Plunge, it doesn't matter what team the guy supports. It doesn't even matter for people outside. It doesn't matter what team I support. It doesn't matter what team individuals support. If you can't have a laugh about people saying you look like somebody or you do this, you do that.
See, to respond to Plunge, Grado's with Stevenson. So how can they support that other team that Plunge is talking about? That's just... He should be supporting his local team, I take it, aye.
Well, there you go. Aye, you would think so, but no, he is right. He's not a Celtic fan. Let's just say that. But he's actually quite a good guy. I've actually met him once. He'll probably not remember it, but I remember it. And he's actually.
See when you're talking about lookalikes, Stripey. You all watch The Chase?
Mm-hmm.
With Mark Labette? No.
The Beast.
Aye, that's you.
I'll tell you what, by the way, I wish I was as intelligent as him. I wish I was as clever as him. I'd be doing all that, I know. I'd be doing more game shows, Alan, I'm telling you now, I would be. I wish I had his knowledge.
Aye.
I'll take that. Listen,
that's not a bad looking guy.
Again, no, that's it. There's worse people in this world that you could potentially.
That's not an insult. He's not a bad looking guy.
No. I get where you're coming from, and I find it quite funny.
I've had a few guys say I look like James Corden. I'm like, excuse me? Like, aye. When James Corden was the size of the moon. Aye. And I'm like, what? So, aye. I've had a few lookalikes. I must have one of the Crime Watch faces.
Yeah, he has, and that's right. Aye. He has lost a humongous amount of weight. And by the way, it's not through like any operations or any sort of... It's through a lot of hard work and dedication.
No, his missus patched him. No, his missus divorced him. Bradley Welsh.
But have you seen how he's landed on his feet now? And
I don't know what I.
yeah, have you seen he's landed lucky and he's landed on his feet now.
I think we'll say very little about that.
Well, to be honest with you, Francis, I think you totally steal the show there, mate, by folk calling you Soonest.
Can I
that'd
just
have been
say
funny. I know, but I mean,
can I just say this?
obviously I've been in Francis's company a few times, Alan, and I've never noticed it to now. But aye, definitely. I can see a wee bit of it now. Good evening, Barry. Hope you're well, mate.
Evening.
But evening, James. Hope you're well, pal.
Evening.
Cheers, everybody, for joining us. Hope you are all well. Hope you are all keeping wrapped up in this freezing cold weather as well. And aye, there's me Maloney there. He's out scouting for hoodies. He's looking for new bottles of bleach and scouting for hoodies and on me some of the photos he sent us a day. I reckon he'll be grabbing something else, right enough. Don't get me wrong, but
he's at the Los Castellanos market looking for anything he can get.
He's in the Costa. He's in the Costa Radecki penitentiary now, looking for all sorts.
He's out selling watches tonight.
Checking all that loose fruit is front. Checking all that loose fruit is running about.
Aye, the half 10 show is, do you want a Prada bag?
Aye. The horny devil wears Prada.
Aye.
The horny devil wears Prada. Right, aye. So on to the game on Sunday. Like we've all been looking forward to seeing for, I'll say, quite a while now. What's your early thoughts on one being back at Celtic Park, and obviously players in the squad and who you potentially could see on Sunday? I know, listen, I don't want to be disrespectful and say that, you know, they're only a Highland League team, so we need to make a barrage of changes and, you know, totally the Celtic first 11 is probably not going to be recognisable or, you know, anything that we've seen. Potentially a team that's maybe not even played together competitively before. So, looking at it that way, I don't personally, this is me personally, I don't see Brendan making that many changes because the way I see it is they've just had a break. So it's not like you're not going to be hitting it with, right, well, we need to rest this guy or we need to give him a rest or they've all had a rest. So I think, to be fair, but it's going to be interesting to see where where his head is, where his mindset is in terms, because we've not heard his prep, we've not seen a pressure or anything for him for the game yet, so we don't know where Brendan's thoughts are in terms of what kind of team's going to shape up. And obviously we're not going to have Hatate, we're not going to have Maeda, not going to have Big O, we'll not have Yang. They're not there, so they're not going to be part of the squad. So what do you think? Do you think he could go really strong? Or do you think he's going to go kind of half strong, half no kind of thing?
I think we'll go relatively strong. I've said that for a couple of weeks. I think, as I said previously, we're coming into that important part of the season. The last 4 games, we started kind of gelling and playing well as a team, picking up maximum points, scoring goals, playing relatively well. So I think there might be 1 or 2 changes. I think you might see a couple of players coming in and get a bit of game time, but I think the majority in the first 11 that Brendan sees as his first 11 will be starting on Sunday. I think the importance of the continuity of the team, the way the team are starting to gel, especially kind of the last few results as well. Before that, we had a couple of losses, so we're starting to gel as a team. We've got a very important part of the season upcoming. We've got a few difficult games after Buckie Thistle. We all due respect to Buckie Thistle, as you say, but I can see him playing a relatively strong side because I think it's getting used to the guys that's next to you. I think you want that kind of continuity in the team and make sure that we're winning game after game and going a run that a winning run that's going to eventually win us both of these cups. So I don't think Brendan will take Buckie Thistle lightly. I think he'll play. There'll maybe be a couple of curveballs. I think you might see the usual, maybe Anthony Ralston coming in to replace Alistair Johnston. You'll maybe see James Forrest come in the wing, possibly. But I think the majority of the side that's going to continue through the season will play tomorrow. Sunday.
Yeah. I'm going to echo what you've said. I personally think, and I've thought this as well for a wee while, that they'll play a strong side. I think Brendan will. As says, mate, they've had a break, so there's probably no reason not to go kind of. I'm not going to say near a full strength, but there's no reason why we can't go strong. But at Celtic Park, fans have paid. The fans that are going have paid 15 quid for the ticket to go. So you're wanting to put out a decent side, a strong side, in order to put on a bit of a show if you can. And just as Plunge says as well, the players will be chomping at a bit, Alan. They'll be chomping at a bit to get back out and start playing games again. Because like I says, mate, it's good to get back in with the lads, training and everything else, but nothing beats getting on the park and playing a match.
Yeah.
So that's what you love doing. So I think, I would like to see. I think a lot of fans will be disheartened. I think, Alan. I think there'll be an element of disheartening there because especially if it's a weekend side that he plays, and then with a weekend side, mate, you always run a risk of slip-ups and mistakes happening. Now, like Ryan says, I know. Listen, unless a monstrous, almighty collapse happens, there is no way Celtic don't win this game comfortably at the weekend.
I think everybody knows we're most likely going to win this game comfortably, but I'm looking into the future, and sometimes that can be kind of viewed upon as foolish because it's one game at a time, but I think we need to hit the ground running in this run of games, especially league games. We need to hit the ground running, so one game that we're playing against Buckie Thistle, then we can get the majority of the team together that we see as the kind of starting 11. They can get playing together, get that continuity, get that rhythm, get that kind of feeling amongst the team and move forward in that way, because we need to make sure that when we're going into the next few league games, we are at the top of what we can be. And that kind of, I know it's only one game, but that comfort of playing with each other, that comfort of getting back into the groove of how we played before the break, I think that could be instrumental to going on a winning run. So I've no doubt that the players that we've got that are in the squad and on the bench, if we made a kind of number of changes, that the players are good enough to match, with all due respect, a team like Buckie Thistle. But I'd be ignoring the part of the Buckie Thistle. I'd be looking at back into the rhythm, back into the continuity. Let's kick on with this season. Let's hit the ground running. start kind of winning 3 and 4 0 in these league games that we've got upcoming, because we need to make sure we go on a kind of 10, 11, 12 game run that we are winning every game, so that we put this league within like out of reach of anybody else.
Yeah, no, listen, I totally get that. I know there's some comments coming in. Martin said that we shouldn't play with bigger players and put bigger players at risk of potentially being injured or anything happening to them. Francis has said there, use the game for a warm up, for the next league game. Martin's also then alluded to that no bigger teams play their best players in a game like this, and it's a small club mentality. If we risk players from under B-rated cup at best, I'm going to have to say, Martin, that I disagree with that. We've already lost out in the League Cup. I know, listen, you've no divine right to win the 3 trophies every single year, but our objective now, minimum, in my opinion, Martin, should be that we go and win the Scottish Cup and the league, because that's what we have available to us to go and do it. And to be fair with you, Brendan Season's first back, Brendan's first season back as Celtic manager, I think if he wins the Scottish Cup and the league, and he's ended with 10-year, of agony in terms of not winning in Europe, I think you're, Alan, I don't know about you, mate, but I think most Celtic fans at the beginning of the season, if they were being told that's a potential of what's going to happen this season, like you're going to lose the League Cup, but you're going to win the Scottish, you're going to win the league, I think most Celtic fans would be biting your hand off for that, mate.
I think the priority every season, especially this season, I've mentioned before that this is probably the last season we're going to get into the Champions League with it qualifier. So it's imperative that we win this league. If you'd say to me, you can win the 2 cups, but forfeit the league's the one thing. I'd love to win the Scottish Cup, but as long as we win that league, I'm happy as Larry. And that's the reason. I know one of the comments there saying that they'd play a kind of lesser side, but that's one of the reasons that I'd play kind of a near to full strength side, because we need to build some sort of momentum. We had that momentum before the break. We were starting to kind of put things together, winning every game, the last 4 games. Football. We need to carry on that momentum and playing in the Scottish Cup. That's an opportunity to kind of resume that momentum that we're building. So that's the reason why I would play kind of a near to full strength team. If you'd asked me at the start of the season about the cup and league double with the Scottish Cup, yeah, no, I'd take that. If you'd asked me now, would you take the league and that's it? I'd take that as well. I think the league's it's imperative. It's essential that we win this league. That's the most important part by a mile. And I think we should be putting all our eggs in one basket with making sure that we win this league title, because it's going to be important for both financially and kind of player level, the football club, that we win this league and kind of get the financial benefit that what comes next year with automatic qualification to the Champions League.
Yeah. No, listen, I can see your thoughts here in terms of the league, but for me, the league's bread and butter. That's every season's a big season for Celtic to win the league. It's not just because there's a financial incentive at the end of this one. I don't think that should change anything at all. The mindset should be that you go and win the league, and with us being champions and have been for the last couple of years now, you're always coming back to defend the title. I think that's a given. I don't think that's, but my point is there's 2 trophies up for grabs and they're anybody's. So I want Celtic to do their utmost best to be the best out of every other team possible and go and win the 2 trophies that's still available. Because, again, maybe that's just the mindset I've got myself personally. It would certainly be the drive I had if I could still play. But that's got to be the objective. That's got to be the objective. You can't just go into a game like Sunday half-heartedly and say, do you know what? We're not going to play a big team here because we're not really bothered. We just want to make sure we win the league. That's a wrong attitude, especially when you've took 15 quid off ahead off your fans to try and get them through the door to go to the game. And I think that itself is a shambles. There should have been some sort of other incentive there, especially people with families, kids, etc. I think there's certain elements of that you've got to use your head. Like the Buckie Thistle players were all in a pub when the draw was made, and they were bouncing about like wee boys as if they'd just won the lottery. Now, in that itself shows the excitement that they're all under. Because I'd imagine probably even the strip they play on, I would imagine the majority of them are Celtic fans. And by the way, that's no true knowledge. Actually, I'm just hazarding. I'm hazarding a big guess here. So you're going to have a team who are buzzing to come there. So us on the other side of that, can he go into that half-heartedly? And can he go into that with that sort of lackadaisical mindset? Because we've seen what happens before. I don't want this game to be anywhere near nail-biting. I don't want this. I want this game to be that comfortable that the Buckie Thistle fans are then starting to cheer for Celtic because they're playing that well. That's the way I want. I want this to be the way when Ryan was at that game that day, and when we were up to Tannadice and we won 9-0. I want Celtic to be as ruthless as that and just go and if that's what you need to do to get the result, then go do it. But in terms of it, I know what Martin's saying there. Matt O'Reilly could get injured in any game, Martin. It doesn't need to be Sunday, mate. He could get injured playing against Ross County. He could get injured in training. That's what happens when you play football. That's the joys. He would be a huge miss, but we've replaced Matt O'Reilly is replaceable. Everybody's replaceable in the team. We replaced Henrik Larsson. Do you know what I mean? Life goes on when players either move on, they end up injured. You find a way to get by that.
I consider Rio Hatate as the best Celtic player we've got at present, and we've replaced him for the last kind of 3 or 4 months. We'll get by without him. We can always get by. We can't say what if they get injured. I think we need to get back into our stride.
I agree with Thomas here, by the way.
We should win this Scottish Cup, and I think we will. Especially we've not got a great, obviously the exit for Europe. We've not got a great deal of games coming up as well. We are basically going to be 1 game a week for the majority of the rest of the season. So it's not a hard ask to ask the players to recover if they're playing kind of 1 game a week. It's different when it was kind of 2 and 3 games a week that we're playing the first half of the season. That's where we started to see some of the injuries creep up. But we should be winning the Scottish Cup. I think we are favourites to win the Scottish Cup. I think we will win the Scottish Cup and the league. But my point being is that we need to make sure this league's won. I think we will win both, but this league title is massive, just like any other year. But I think with the added kind of financial incentive, I think it makes this kind of league title a slightly bigger than ones gone past.
Yeah, like I says, I think it makes it bigger, Alan, because of the financial incentive that comes at the end of this. For anybody that's wondering what we mean, or anybody that maybe didn't know, what me and Alan are chatting about there is if Celtic win the league, Celtic then gain an automatic payment of 60 million quid, because they will then automatically, again, for the third year running, qualify into the Champions League. But the Champions League's format is changing, folks. So it's not going to be a group phase anymore. The Champions League format becomes a league table. And Celtic, instead of playing 6 games, will play 8 games. So the Champions League then runs to January instead of Novemberish. And your fate, because of the way the league is run, your fate isn't decided until the January. So because of the coefficient and the qualification points and your status and your seeding for the competition when you're in it, that will then determine who you're going to play. So 1 week you could play Manchester United at Old Trafford. The next week you could be at home against Royal Antwerp. It's going to run that you play 4 home games and you play 4 away games. After the games are done, your fate will then be decided where and what category you fall into. Places first to 8 are guaranteed automatically through to the next phase of the Champions League. I think it's from 9 to
23rd,
23. Yep. You're guaranteed to have a playoff to go to the next round. Anything below that, I think then you would drop into, I think it's, again, I'm not sure, Alan. I think there needs to be an element that you're going to drop into the Europa League as well. I don't think they're doing away with that.
I the player, see, no, that's the point. Between the 9th and 23rd, see, the losers of that would drop into that. So the ones that's 24.
The loser of the playoff, sorry. Aye.
But just to emphasise to anybody that maybe comment, it hasn't been 100% confirmed this year. There's been UEFA's come out and says that they might keep it the same next year. It's not been 100% confirmed as of yet. I know we spoke to Anthony Joseph regarding this, but there's still, it looks like it's going ahead, but there's wee bits and bobs saying that it possibly could stay the same. But it's the point that with the coefficient, the way it is with Scottish teams, with the 5-year coefficient, this is the last year that the league winners will go directly into a Champions League competition.
There you go.
After,
Ryan's kind of put it in theory for us.
So, but
we got this information. If anybody, by the way, sorry, Alan, I'll let you back in. If anybody wants to see more about it, we interviewed Anthony Joseph from Sky Sports, and you will find that interview on the playlist section of our YouTube channel. So if you want to find out more about that, you can go and have a look. And yeah, Anthony did his best to give us the lowdown. Sorry, Alan.
What was I saying? Forgot about that there.
You were talking about the actual places and where it could go and how it's maybe not changed yet. And
I know. No, it's a coefficient. So that's what I was talking about. This is the last year that any Scottish team will go directly into the Champions League, going on the coefficient. This could be the next kind of number of years, maybe 3, 4, 5 years that we'll need to play qualifiers. and that could end up kind of 2, 3, 4 qualifiers that we're having to do, like happened a few years ago. So it just makes it more important that we're getting, whoever wins this league gets the easy route into getting that kind of substantial amount of finance into the club. So in my eyes, it's kind of imperative that we make sure that finance is flowing into our club, and for there we can. It makes you grow, and it makes sure that we can afford better players, we can afford better facilities, we can afford better everything. And we need to take advantage of the last year that we could get into this. So there's no doubt that the year following that we could maybe play a couple of qualifiers and still get into that kind of group stage, but it's going to make it that wee bit more difficult because you've got that the games to play. So it's absolutely massive if we can win this league, whether that be the new format that's bringing kind of more capital into the club, or whether that be the unchanged format that is still bringing massive capital into the club.
Yeah,
and it's making us stronger, kind of compared to any team in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. I think obviously that's that's the thing as well. With the new format, do you know, Alan, offhand, and I can't remember if there is or not, personally, is there still room for, is Scotland still got 2 places for the Champions League qualifying? So one will go automatically and the other team would then
Still
have to play
qualifying routes.
qualifiers to get there? Right.
So
Okay.
I'm sure off the top of my head, there's 3 places that go into the Champions League, and that's the same through the qualifiers. No, 6 actually. There's 3 through the Champions route, and there's 3 through the non-Champions route. So whereas it was kind of last year, the non-Champions route with Rangers, they went through and they get put out off of PSV, and there's the other groups where we went through before we qualified as champions, so we went into a kind of slightly easier draw. Still difficult, but we failed to qualify a couple of times for that. But I think it's 6 teams that go in there, so you would say that is, so that'd be 32. So there'll be 26 teams that automatically go into the Champions League if the new format.
Rebel 95 has said if the team across the water, if they get to the quarterfinals of Europa League, then Scotland are given an extra 2 years qualification into the Champions League.
No. It's a 5-year coefficient, right? So
yeah, no, I understand that, but
what we do this year doesn't matter.
I don't know when that would come back into play.
Aye, so it's got to be a few years down the line. So it's no whatever. Like Rangers could go and win the Europa League, right? It doesn't matter. Right? That'll no matter until maybe 2 or 3 years down the line. Well, they average it over a 5-year period, and going on that 5-year period, I think we go down to, I think it's 14th in the coefficient league, going on the way it stands at present. And I think it's only the top 12 that get automatic places into the Champions League. I might be slightly wrong with a couple of the figures, but it's roughly that. But at the minute, next year, the year after next, we'll all be kind of automatically qualified, and it'll take a couple of years to kind of decent points totals and kind of decent qualifications for Scotland to build up that coefficient again. But it's taken over a 5-year average, so what the comment was there, it doesn't matter if Rangers win the Europa League final 23-0, it doesn't matter. That'll not be taken into account until kind of a few years down the line.
I think to be making those predictions, mate, I think the football monitoring board's telling me the new big man will be getting you checked over.
No,
with a GP in the morning, mate.
Aye. No.
No, I know what you mean. I know what you're saying, because it's over a number of years. I just that's why Alan's here. We all bring different things to the table, and Alan's your man when it comes to stats and stuff like that, and wee bits of information like that, folks. So that was why I asked Alan personally there, because I wasn't too sure of the number. I knew it was over a couple of years, but I didn't know it was as many as 5. But listen, that is what it is. We'll need to deal with that when we get. Ross, I do have the answer for that, but obviously, Alan, I'll let you answer because the question's for you. So Ross is asking, how much money will we get for qualifying when it comes into play, Alan? So the new format's next year, Ross.
So at 60,
I don't know.
like, if the new format comes into play, you're looking at 60 million. That's the rough figure. It was 50, 60 million because you're playing more games, as the interview with JP and Ryan, with Anthony Joseph done. You're playing more games, so you're bringing in more kind of television finance, you're bringing in more capital with regards to that. So it is an enhancement with the finance we're bringing in, compared to the kind of 30, 35 million that's quoted for the Champions League we're in at present. You're playing another couple of games, so it's more TV money, more UEFA money, etc., etc. So you're talking kind of 50, 60 million if this format comes into play. So for a club financially our size, it is quite a step up money compared to the Champions League that we are in present. It could be minimum an extra kind of 15, 20 million into a bank account that we would have seen. So
that's, by the way, that's before you've sold any of your players.
So it's a big step up. If this format comes in, they're questioning it at the minute because of how similar it is to the Super League that's been kind of thrown about, but it looks a kind of 90% as if it's going to go ahead, this format. So
well, it kicks in next season, so it's definitely, well, as far as we know, like, according to Anthony, definitely. Yeah.
See, after I sent you the message saying that it was Sky Sports saying UEFA were kind of going against going ahead, but what I've been reading, it looks as if it will go ahead. It looks as if a new format will be put into place. It's still to be 100% confirmed, but with that, you're adding on an extra 15, 20 million into the money that we would get if we win that league and if we qualify automatically. So it is for a club with our financial stature, it's massive. We've seen the kind of profits that we've made the last kind of 2 or 3 years. We going into the Champions League. Obviously, a couple of player sales has contributed to that, but going into the Champions League has put us massively in profit, and we're publishing kind of figures around 70, 75 million in the bank. So it can only be positive if this kind of format comes into play and we bank that kind of money again. So it pushes us further and further clear with anybody else in this league.
Yeah, no, 100%, mate. As I said, but there's no, with the pittance that is offered to the clubs in Scotland, there is nobody making anywhere near the money that we have currently just now, and that work there has to be commended to the. You need to tip your hat to the Celtic board and the way they do things and the way they run things, because it's an incredible way to run a business, especially playing in a league that, like I say, offers zero to nothing in terms of finances. I mean, you get £2 million for winning the league. That's it. That for me, that's embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. I think you get a lot less than that for winning leagues of the League Cup. I think if you won the treble overall, you probably just fall shy of £5 million for winning the treble. And for me, that's a shambles, Alan. That really is a shambles. because when you are successful, mate, you should be rewarded. And rewards come in all different sizes, shapes, and forms. I get that. But for me, there needs to be more of an incentive there. You know, they batter down the door about why is the league not taking seriously this, that, and the next thing. You need to start taking yourself seriously before you start considering other things outside what you're doing. You know, it's probably why they've found it so difficult to keep a continuity in terms of the league sponsorship and everything else. And it's been chop and change and chop and change, and this one's in and that one's out and that one's in, and it's been an absolute nightmare. But the way Celtic run and the player trading model that Celtic operate for, world class, absolute world class, and it's elite level stuff, mate.
I think the kind of finance with it. I don't know. I don't know if it was the 3 years or myself, myself and you, or myself and Ryan, but I think it all kind of falls back on the TV deal that was made with the kind of the SFA or the SPFL, whoever it is, right? But he's short selling that, so we can't afford to give out prize money anything more than that because we're short selling ourselves on TV deals, the amount of finance we're bringing in. So that's a different conversation altogether. I think you could probably, we could look up a pod we've done on that. We've explained that the guys that are selling their game, the guys that are advertising their game, I think we've made our position pretty clear that in that regard they're probably not fit for purpose. They're not doing their job correctly because of how much their game's undersold. So that in turn it's a domino effect. So that goes back to how much they're getting for a league title, how much they're getting for League Cup, Scottish Cup, etc. It's going to be kind of pennies compared to another league because we are underselling. We're underselling our game basically. So how much we're bringing in with TV money, that kind of dictates how much is paid out to the winners of certain competitions. So that's another. I think that's another pod in itself.
Definitely. I've said there's many topics I think, mate, that you could do. You could do a pod on just basically alone. So, you start talking about that, you get in a tangent. You end up.
I know. I've got 10 minutes
doing
left.
I know you end up doing a rhyme, and we've end up one is on it to go and make a tea, another one can just talk and talk and talk. But overall, mate, your thoughts, especially on a team line for Sunday. Give me what you're thinking.
It'll be Joe Hart. I think it'll be Anthony Ralston, Nerowski, Liam Scales, Greg Taylor, Cal McGregor, Paolo Bernardo, Matt O'Reilly. I think it'll be Lewis Palmer, James Forrest, and Kuomo.
Forrest. Ooh, Jamesy boy.
I think these kind of games, that's the ones you throw. Like,
yeah, no,
you've seen it years gone past, like Ralston,
he drops one
Forrest.
or two in, aye. He drops one or two in. That's a strong side, a very strong side. I'd imagine Jamesy boy would be chomping in a bit there and all to get his teeth in a bit of football action again. He's not played for a wee while, so that's a very strong side. I would say probably I'm going to go Joe Hart. I'm going to go for Ralston. I'm going to go Ralston. I'm going to go Big Nerowski. I'm going to go Scalesy. I'm going to go for Greg Taylor. Wee Oxo is his other name for him that wonders. I was nearly calling him there. I nearly stuttered there when I said that, but that was the reason I was ready to call him something else. I think the midfield will be Bernardo, McGregor, Matt O'Reilly. I'm not drafting Palmer. Surprise, surprise. I said his name first actually before I said Joe Hart. Palmer. I don't think he'll play Jamesy. I don't think he'll play him, but I can see what you're thinking there. I think Abada will start. I think he'll play Abada. And I think he'll play Kyogo. I think
You're just as
he'll
strong
go
as me
strong.
then. Maybe
No,
stronger.
that's what I'm saying. It's I don't see. Listen. We've been rang before, mate, and I always have a chuckle to myself whenever I do get it wrong, or we do get it wrong, and we, it's. I hope it's no night and day for what we've just said there. I hope it's no like Scott Bain, Tony Ralston, Lager Bielka,
James McCarthy.
James McCarthy. Yeah, I can't see James McCarthy playing on. No, he's not even been in a team this season. But again, like I say, even the level of James McCarthy, still, you can't come in and play against Buckie Thistle, mate. You're going to be struggling.
Aye.
So
No,
Awata, I don't know if Awata's fit, so he could be looked at if he's fit. Thiago Home, I know he's back for his illness. The nasty stomach bug.
Any of the squad could cope with this game, I think, but as I say, I think we'll kind of look for momentum in this game and try to kind of kick on. And
I'm just got
build,
Big Con's
build it.
been loaned out, man. This would have been an ideal game to throw him in. And
I need to
but
go look, I need to go look the door 2 seconds.
I'm glad as well that I'm glad as well, folks, that we can, we can also get a look at Quan. I've just said Quan there. But I'm glad as well we can also get a look at Quan in terms of, he's got to be up close in person. He's with St Mirren. He's been loaned out there with a view to get him game time. Bit similar to Big Aya, Ryan Christie, Scalesy, obviously Aberdeen folks as well. So I'm really thinking along the lines of that for Quan as well. And I think Quan's get, a massive chance now to go and cement his place in the St Mirren team, learn the physicality of the Scottish game, learn what it takes to be playing in Scotland, what the demand is. And what I will say, folks, is I think if Quan can't go and do it week in and week out for St Mirren, then I think he's going to be very limited at Celtic then after that. I know he signed a 5-year deal. He's still a young lad. He's only 21. But if he can't go and play for St Mirren week in and week out, he's not going to be able to do it, in my opinion, for the Celtic first team. So the beauty of the loan deal is hopefully we get him ready for next season and we go again. Robert, I think that's a very interesting comment, mate. And it's one that I'm intrigued to find out much more about what you're basing that on, mate. Because that, for me, that's wild. That's absolutely wild, mate, to say the guys I did. I mean, you're talking about a guy here, he scored goals in the Champions League. He scored goals in big moments. He scored some really important goals for us this season so far. He's performed at a high level for the team. So to say the guys I did, mate, is probably one of the most interesting comments I've seen to say the least, mate.
I think a lot of wingers, the inconsistency kind of goes with wingers. You even look kind of Aidan McGeady, Paddy Roberts, Scott Sinclair. You look back, you get bits of brilliance, but to say that Palmer's a dud, I think's way off the mark. Right? But Palmer's been a great signing. There has been games that he's not been doing a great deal, but the majority of the games he's been really good. as we spoke about today on the phone, some of the passes he's made. And probably the most high profile one was the cross for O, fifth goal, I think, wasn't it? So that cross was outside his foot for O. But there has been a number of games and a number of moments that Palmer's kind of contributed massively. But it's just like any other winger. I think the purpose of a winger, their brilliance, and then they kind of drift in and out of games, and there is games that you don't see them whatsoever. But to say that kind of comment, personally, everybody's kind of entitled to their opinion, but personally, I don't think that's correct. I think that Palmer's contributed massively in the first half of the season, and
no, but I'll say, Alan,
he's been a great member of the squad.
For anybody saying things, I've seen comments, people say he's bang average and he's this and he's that, and everybody's entitled to their opinion, right? But I'm just going to be honest and totally blunt with anybody that's saying the guy's a dud or he's bang average. You're not watching football. Football's not for you if you think he's a dud.
He's not a dud.
You're clearly not watching what he does in the game. He's got the most assists in this league, first and foremost. This is a guy who has been playing in a team who we've been told all season so far they're struggling. And we've not been playing well. But there's been comments coming through now, Alan, saying that people reckon that Robert's had a wind up. And fair play if that's the case, that's totally fine. But there's another comment here for Danny, and he said Palmer's not fantastic, he's bang average. For anyone at all, you're obviously not watching football the right way. You're not watching what the guy actually brings to the table, because for anybody, I'm sorry, it's nonsense, absolute nonsense.
Palmer's a decent player, but I think you're always going to have that comparison with last year, the year before with Jota.
He's filled that void. He's filled that void, definitely.
Nah, he's low the player Jota is. I'm complimenting him. I think he's put in some great contribution to the team. He's been one of our best players this season, but he's
one of the most technically gifted players we've got in the team.
Aye, at the minute. But we're comparing that. That's what I'm saying. For people that say he's bang average, they might be comparing him to the last couple of years with Jota, and he's low, and he never will be on Jota's level, I don't think. Right? I'm not disputing the fact that I think that Palmer's a good player. Palmer's had a great start to his Celtic career. It's a great start to the season. Some of his passes have been unbelievable. Some of his goals have been great. He's been one of the best players we've had so far this season. I'd put him in maybe the top 3 or 4 players we've had this season in our team.
Yes.
Right. So I'm happy with that. But what I'm saying is, for people that say he's bang average, I'm saying it for the devil's advocate side. They're maybe looking at, we've had Jota on that side the last couple of years, or opposite sides with Maida, etc. If we're being realistic, he's never near Jota. He's filling a void.
He's not that type of player though, but he's really helped to fill.
No,
he's really helped to fill the void.
I'm being complimentary about him, and I was what everybody knows. We've had a couple of kind of comedy disagreements previously about this certain individual, but I'm being extremely complimentary. I think he's been a great addition to the squad, but I think playing devil's advocate, where people saying that he's bang average, to put him on the same kind of plateau as Jota, nah, not for me. We're a selling club, so we got offered that kind of money for Jota. He goes,
Sees
but
Baz says
he's
there as
nowhere
well, Alan.
near.
Sees Barry Boy says there, Jota terrified players. Go to the games and watch what defenders do when they see Palmer getting the ball. They don't want him.
Mate,
They don't want him
like,
getting the ball.
like, I've given you a horns up, right, and I'm saying that Palmer's a decent player, but you've got to be nuts that he's anywhere near Jota. Right, he's just no. I wish we'd Jota back, but we're a selling club. We've moved on. We got offered that kind of money, but Palmer's come in for that kind of money, and he's done a fantastic job. Right, he's contributed brilliantly this season, and I'm extremely happy with how Palmer's played and the assists and goals that
Yes,
Palmer's done.
Maxim. So am I. So am I.
Aye,
That's the scary part of it. There's still improvement to come for him, and
aye, but
that's the
I
scary
don't.
part. Before we finish up as well, mate, there is a comment from William O'Toole. I'm just trying to find the comment now. His comment was about Bernardo, and he says, "What Bernardo do you think we now get? Early season Bernardo, or the last couple of games Bernardo?" My response very quickly to that, Alan, would be that Bernardo has now settled in the team. What we saw from Bernardo was a Bernardo who not only was he settled, but he was getting a run of games, and that helped with his form. And obviously, there's a comment there, Alan, from William, and that also helped for me with his form, and that's why we saw Bernardo coming onto a game, scoring against Dundee, and then he took that into the derby, scored in that, and he was instrumental against St Mirren before we finished up as well, and got himself a couple of assists. Should have got a goal, if not for a top class save from the St Mirren goalkeeper that day. But for me now, William, I think Bernardo just kicks on, mate, and as does Celtic.
I've been pretty clear about Bernardo for a while now. I think the last kind of 3 or 4 games, Bernardo's been absolutely exceptional. But when you come to a club like Celtic, right, especially if you're a loan with the option to buy, you need to hit the ground running. And for the start of the season, I can see where he was coming from, because the minute that Hatate got injured, and I've stated this a few times on the pod before, the minute that Hatate got injured, there's a wide open gap there, and there's 4 potential players. You're listening to me, Plunge. That makes it even worse, mate. I know. Turn that in. Bernardo at the start of the season, right? You'd Tatty gone out for a few months, right? Everybody knew that he was out for a few months. It was well publicised, right? So we had 4 players there. We had Turnbull, we had Bernardo, we had Awata, and we had Thiago Home, right? We see each of them probably every week. You'd have one or the other. They all had a shot at it, and nobody grasped that opportunity. Nobody took that opportunity. You'd say, if there was a player there good enough, they would come in and go, "That's my position now."
Yep.
But that was, you didn't know. Ladies know who was playing. Honestly, we've done kind of team predictions here for the last few months, and that one position in midfield, we were all having different opinions. But I hope that's a turning point, because, as I say, the last kind of 3 or 4 games, Bernardo has showed a level that is exceptional. It's completely turned around for the player we've seen before. There was snippets it before. He looked like a tidy player, but the last 3 games, it's been massively impressive. So that's another reason I think he should be playing on Sunday. I think we should keep kind of a main part of our team, because there's guys like that that's on a kind of run of form. There's guys like that that's keeping that up. So I'd be hoping, and I'm positive that it will be the player we've seen the last kind of few games, because there's no reason why you shouldn't keep that kind of run of form up. Whether when Hatate comes back, personally, I think Hatate comes back into the team, but that's up to Bernardo to show otherwise. That's up to him. He put that level of performance that it's hard for Hatate to gain that position back. So only time will tell, but there's positive signs going on the kind of last few games because Bernardo has been a kind of step above most players in the team, in my opinion.
Yes, he has. And like Ryan says as well in his comment, there's nothing too flashy about him. He just does everything. But he seems to have everything, doesn't he, Alan? He seems to have everything in his locker. He seems to have that running ability in his legs. Again, Brendan spoke about his fitness, about being able to play 2-3 games in a week. And he's building that. But he seems to have it. He's able to tackle. He can run in behind. He can get on the end of things. He looks as if he's going to be a physical presence here as well. He's no frightened to challenge. Just ask Connor Goldson. He nearly swallowed the flare at Celtic Park when the big man went right through him, which I loved. Absolutely loved that because, again, we spoke about how we've missed the physicality side of things, Alan. And that day, mate, we totally bullied them. We absolutely outfought them in every department. And, yeah, as I say, I was really impressed with Bernardo that day. I think, like you says, Hatate coming back from the Asian Cup. He's away with Japan. I know he didn't play in their first game, but I do think he'll get game time of some sort as well. I know Moriyashi's been very, very, superb class, world class. The way he's handled them, and he's kind of promised Brendan that he'll not try and burn him out in any way whatsoever. And he knows Moriyashi knows it's a big season for Rio Hatate to come back into the Celtic side, and like you says earlier on, need to try and win this league, mate, and try and fight, to get this done. Before we finish up, mate, there's a guy we've not even mentioned.
Oh, the new signing?
Nicholas Cunn. We don't even know if he's going to play. Will he get a game? Will he not? He's not kicked a ball since the 9th of December. But no, I think he'll get some sort of game time. I don't think this lad's been brought in. He's been given the number 10 jersey, mate. I don't think he's been brought in just to sit in the stand or sit on a bench. I was listening to Mark Goody earlier, and this is just my opinion. I'm going to put this out there. I think Mark Goody's a big Celtic fan, and just the way he talks about us and the way he's got that smile on his face when he chats Celtic all the time. So, and Mark was chatting about the how he thinks the lad's just going to come straight into the team, and he's not a project, and he's going to come in and be one of those players that comes in and just helps the team straight away. Because this, again, he said this is an informed opinion of his, but he's been told that this boy's got every tool to come in and be quality for Celtic. But now it's up to the individual to come and do that, Alan. Celtic's massive, mate. It's probably going to be one of the biggest clubs he's played for. I know he was at Bayern Munich. I know he was at Ajax. But again, mate, they don't have a fanatical fan base the same as us, and the atmosphere's probably nowhere near what we can bring to the table as well, Paradise. So that's just maybe a biased opinion there. But there you go. Thank you very much, Blasmania. There you go. My guess was correct. Just call it a hunch, Alan. It's every time he talks about Celtic, his face lights up like a Christmas tree. Just the way we do on here, mate. Just the way we do on here. Earlier on, somebody put in a comment asking, were you getting photographs taken earlier with the amount of flashing that was going on in your living room at your face?
Oh, she's got to tell him.
All right, okay. Well, there's your answer. So whoever it was, I can't remember who it was that made the comment, but somebody said, does Alan get the paparazzi in his living room?
Apologies, but the good lady's got Spider-Man on.
There we go. So that means the big man, that's our cue to get off then, because the big man's got a date with Spider-Man, folks. You've had it first hand. Before we finish up, guys and girls, we've got a wee announcement to make. This podcast is sponsored by AB Entertainment, and the AB stands for a Mr. Alec Beveridge. It's a DJ and entertainment business, folks. That's the number if you want to contact Alec for bookings. You can hit him up on the WhatsApp as well. The number, if anyone can't see it, is 07845 746 092. That's 07845 746 092. His diary's fully open, folks, so if you want to get a hold of him, please do so in an orderly fashion and don't all phone him at daft hours of the clock and start phoning him in the middle of the night, giving him crank calls. I know what some people for East End of Glasgow are like and do for laughs, Alan, so it's, but yeah, Alec, just send him a wee WhatsApp, folks, and he will get back in contact with you if you've got any parties coming up or any relatives have got any parties coming up at all. If you quote the podcast, nothing dodgy or anything like that. If you quote the podcast,
He'll hang up you.
You can get exactly. You can get yourself a wee discount. So there you go. So yeah. All in all, folks, I hope everybody here, including yourself, Alan, has a jolly and lovely weekend. If you're going to Celtic Park, please wrap up well, because it's -8 in Glasgow at the moment. And yeah, everybody take care, and we'll see you again on Monday evening at the later time of 8:30. And for anybody wondering what time the show starts, it's 8:30. It's not 9 o'clock, because I seen a wee comment at the beginning of the night. It's just we love to run
We're
a
only
wee bit
human.
late. Aye. Are we dancers? I don't know. Are we human?
I know.
Are we dancers? We could be. You never know. But yeah. I'm being corrected here by Anjem. JP, you've been pronouncing the new guy's name wrong. Break Kun down. It sounds like Kun.
I don't know.
I'm not leaving pronunciation to yourself, Ange. I'm really sorry, but I know how to pronounce his name because I've went and listened to commentators mentioning his name, and they call him Kun. That's the way they say it.
That could be dangerous, could it?
Could be very dangerous, and Jem will probably need to watch.
No, I'm saying if
what
we
you're
say
doing
Kun,
there.
no,
Yeah, no,
we might add something on to that.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's one of their names, mate. Like it's like the one that came flagged up in the chase, Fanny Schmeller. Now, if that was my name, I would be right down the courts in the next morning to get that changed. There was another one. Was it Wally Wacker, Dick Tingler, and Helmet Schmacker? I think personally they just did that to poor Bradley.
You could use a Brazilian centre half outside with Celtic in 1999.
His name is Raphael Scheidt.
Aye.
If you put Davy Weir, Oliver Temely, and Big Raphael together, you could call it Weir Temely Scheidt. What a back three that would have been, folks. But all in all, guys, have a good one. Take care. Hail, hail. See you again.
Well.